In this episode, we're talking about how adding extra bits of information to your images can help your website and your visitors.
This is Better Radio Websites, the podcast for radio professionals who want to see their website generate more traffic and revenue. Each week, your host, Jim Sherwood, and his special guests give you time-tested tips and secret tricks to ensure your radio station dominates digital in your market. Here we go.
Hi, it's Jim, and welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. It's great to have you here this week. Well, it's probably safe to say that when most people upload images to their station website, they are neglecting adding additional meta information that they should. Now, what I'm talking about is the alt tag, description tag, and the caption. Now, if you haven't done this in the past, don't worry about it. I have neglected it also. Everybody does. If you're in WordPress, you'll actually see these three fields, the alt, description, and caption tags, over to the right-hand side of your newly uploaded image. If you upload multiple images at one time, well, then you'll have to click on each individual image to see these fields. Now, other platforms have this also, so if you don't have a WordPress website, that's no problem. These fields should be in the image meta of those platforms as well. Most of the time, these three meta fields will not appear on the front end of your website. That doesn't mean that you should not pay attention to them. If you do add the information there, though, it can help your website grow and help a special segment of your visitors. Now, we'll get into each one of these individually. Now, the first one is the image alt tag. Now, there are several reasons that you must have alt tags in your images. If a user is using a browser or computer and for some reason they cannot render an image, well, then they'll still be able to see the alt tag instead of a completely blank space. It at least gives them some idea of what's supposed to be there. Alt tags also help search engine robots when they crawl your website. Now, a search engine robot cannot visualize an image, but they can see and read the tags that accompany them. So when you use keywords in your image alt tags, it gives more influence to your post because that keyword appears more times. I tell you, if I had just one search engine optimization tip to give, just one, it would be to add alt tags to every image on your website. As everything is becoming more visual now, search engines are putting more value on these tags than actually the headings in your copy or the word density, that sort of thing. They're putting more emphasis on these alt tags. So they're very, very important. Alt tags also help search engines categorize images within their image search, which can help your pages and posts appear in more results. Just recently, I looked for Adirondack chair building plans. And when I went to search for that, I didn't actually read any of the websites that came up. I actually clicked on images because I wanted plans for a specific design. And so when I went down the image search and looking at all these images, only the images, and I picked out the chair that I like to build, and then I clicked on that one. If there were better plans out there without image alt tags, I wouldn't have seen them because they didn't put the correct image alt tags to make them appear in the search term that I was looking for. So that's why these alt tags are important within image search, because some folks are not just looking for websites, they're looking for images that they want to click on to get them to the right place. To get the most bang for your buck when creating alt tags, there are a few simple rules to follow. One, keep the tag short and relevant. You can't have a very long alt tag. Think less than 125 characters. Number two, describe the image as clearly as possible. And then number three, make sure that you include a keyword that's in your page or post that you're adding this image to. Remember that search engines do scan image alt tags, and these extra keywords will count towards your overall site ranking. Just be sure not to keyword stuff it, because that could penalize your page or post. We've talked about that in previous episodes. Now, if you can't figure out what the alt tag should say, well, then really you need to question if you really need that image in this page or post at all. Images within pages and posts, they should always serve a purpose. And if yours doesn't, well, then it probably shouldn't be there, okay? Next is the image description. Now, an image description gives more details than the alt text and allows someone to learn more about what's actually happening in the image. Alt tags gives the user the most concise, important, relevant information, while the image descriptions go into a little bit more detail. For example, the alt text may read tall stack of pancakes, and the image description goes into more detail. Tall stack of pancakes on a plate covered in blueberry syrup, blueberries, and whipped cream. Adds a little bit more visual there, okay? The description tag can hold as much information as you want. It does not have to be short. It can be like the alt text, but longer and contain keywords, metadata from your camera on where and how you took the photo, copyright information, that sort of thing. You can even add links within description fields. At this point, Google and other search engines do not rank your images or post higher based on the description tag. However, if you do an image search within Google and click on an image, a pane appears out to the side with the alt text and the name of the image file and that sort of thing. If you have a description tag included, well, then all of that information will appear there as well. So they are seeing that information. They're just not taking that information into account yet. Now, as I said, this information appears over there to the side below the image. Now, good copywriting could convince people to click on your page rather than a competitor's, even though that they may have ranked higher than yours. So adding this description tag will give the user more information that they can use to possibly click on your page or post over somewhere else. All right, next is the caption field. Now, the caption field, that's pretty easy to understand. Unlike the alt text or description, the caption does not have to closely mirror what the image show. Now, some people use image caption to describe the image. Think of a condensed one-sentence version of the image description. You've probably seen this in print newspapers and magazines and that sort of thing where they list the names from left to right. Well, that's one way that you can use the captions. Other people use the caption field to display the image copyright information. Now, that's what I suggest that you do on your radio station website. No matter where you get your images from, they should always include the image copyright holder name. That makes it easy for someone viewing your website to know where you got the image from. And 4 years from now, somebody goes back and looks at a post that you made, you won't remember where you got the image from. It could have been one that you took. It could have been a service. But if somebody is laying a claim to that image and it shouldn't be on your website, then having that information right there within the image gives you a starting place to know where you got the image from. If someone on your team took the image, place their name or the station's name within the caption field. If you purchased the image from an online service, paste in the service name like iStock Photo, Getty Images, Deposit Photos, wherever. This can protect you down the road. If there's ever a claim to your image, you'll know where you got the image and who it belongs to. So those are the three tags: alt tag, descriptions, and caption field. Now, as I've been explaining these, I've been telling you how it benefits you, but it can also benefit your visitors. People with vision impairments, such as low vision and blindness, may use screen readers to access the internet, or they just may have trouble distinguishing images. Screen readers will read the alt text out loud as well as the image descriptions, depending on the settings that the user has enabled. Alt tags and image descriptions can provide essential information as they're viewing your website, like text, links, and image details. Now, the relevant parts of an image aren't limited to the cold hard facts now. Images can also make you feel a particular way. You know that. If you see an image, it's going to make you feel something. And that's something that should be made available to the screen reader user as well. Is there humor or sadness expressed within the image? Be sure to include something like that in your alt tags and descriptions. Instead of photo of Melissa, you should expand on that a little bit. Silly Melissa wearing sunglasses and a pink shirt, making a funny face and holding her ears out. Now that's a little bit more visual, right? Or instead of brown dog as the alt text, choose furry brown dog in a shelter cage with a sad face. Now see how these extended descriptions can evoke emotion? And that really should be second nature to us, because in radio, we're used to writing copy for commercials that paint a picture in the listener's mind. And so we can do that so that screen readers can do that in the minds of these folks with visual impairments. Now, I see a day when these meta fields will be required in order to be compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, or the Web Content Accessibilities Guidelines, or WCAG. It would benefit you to read up on both of these if you haven't. And even right now, having image metadata for the visually impaired is especially important if you are selling something on the website. If you don't offer these tags, you could be tagged for alienating a special segment of the population. Now, that can become a legal issue. There are cases right now in courts where these folks are going after websites, e-commerce websites, because they're unable to read the website with their screen readers and purchase things. And it can be very, very pricey and dicey and legalisty. And if you're selling anything, be sure that all of your image alt tags are in place right now. Now, for the rest of us who don't sell anything on our websites, all of this is still very, very important. People with visual disabilities need to be able to access our websites just as easily as anyone. Here's a good example. How will they find your Listen Live button if that button or image does not have the proper click to listen live text for their screen reader to read? Let that sink in for just a moment. All right. That's just one example, because a lot of folks, they still want their website to be one of the places where they go to listen to the radio station. But if somebody with a visual impairment cannot see click to listen live, how are they going to listen? So the button doesn't exist for those folks. So to wrap up, don't feel bad, because most people do neglect to add these alt tags, description tags, and captions. But hopefully this episode will motivate you to add these fields and go to your website today and make sure that those fields are properly populated so that your website can start appearing in more search engine results and can be accessible to people with disabilities, because it's very, very important. I hope this information helps you. Do you have a question or show idea? We'd love to hear about it. Reach out to us at skyrocketradio.com. Have an awesome week online, making your radio station website better. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Better Radio Websites. Inspired by today's episode? Be sure you are subscribed and share this episode with a friend. Visit skyrocketradio.com/podcasts for more episodes, as well as show notes for this episode. Need help starting or making your station website better? Visit skyrocketradio.com.